Hi everyone, Debra Dickinson here. Thank you for being on my channel today. And Bandit is back there running around somewhere. My friends are back there underneath the shade and keeping an eye on him. Hopefully he'll show up before I finish the video. On Sunday, this last Sunday, June 12th, my friends and I had to escape the pipeline fire outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. It was so scary, and actually 3 fires broke out around Flagstaff around the same time. It was the pipeline fire, the haywire fire, that's hard to say, and the double fire. The pipeline fire is now over 22,000 acres, and the haywire fire and the double fire have combined and are being treated now just as the haywire fire, and that is over 4,000 acres. So there's about 26,000 acres on fire right now, and that's about 6 miles northeast of Flagstaff. And that's on top of the tunnel fire that they just got under control not long ago that burned 19,000 acres 14 miles northeast of Flagstaff. So this area is getting really hard hit. I did a couple of live streams, and including the live stream as we ran from the pipeline fire. Today I'm going to share with you some tips for emergency evacuations and where we may have to go from here as things develop. Sunday morning, Bandit and I actually went on a hike near our camp, and it was a beautiful day. Soon after getting back to camp, I developed a bad headache, which really rarely happens for me, and I had just taken something for the pain and laid down when Jana came to get me and said we had to roll. As I shared on my live stream while we were driving and escaping the fire, during the first leg of our run, we stayed just ahead of the smoke and fire, and it was intense, at least for me. And now today is Wednesday the 15th, and the fires are still not contained. The Coconino Forest actually is now closed until August 20th, you guys. That's the whole summer. Soon I will publish a video about all the closures I'm seeing out here. Couple that with the forest fires and even the flooding in other states, and it makes finding boondocking sites like this beautiful one, or even just any boondocking site that might work, even more precarious. Before I talk about our camping options and where we might go from here, let's talk about emergency evacuation strategies. A lot of big words today. All right, 1, always have your rig as near ready to roll as possible. And my bad, I have gotten away from that, and I usually am the first one that can roll, and lately I've been the last one that is ready to roll. And so I have got to get a grip on my rig inventory and get things straightened up so that I can roll in a minute's notice, because that's what happened on Sunday. 2, this includes no camp sprawl. And by that, I mean don't have things laying around all outside your rig. We have our chairs, and this time I didn't. I usually have my rugs, but I did have my tire covers, and I had my windshield cover, and I had set some things outside of my rig because I was working on straightening up and cleaning up, and that's camp sprawl, and you really are not safe when you do that. So again, my bad. 3, have your gas tank, propane, food, and water supplies topped off, especially before you return to camp. If you go to town and you do your errands, make sure you've got all of that topped off before you get back to camp. And as I shared on my live stream, again, my bad. I was waiting for about another 10 days to get another check so that I could fill up, because we all know what the gas prices are like right now. And so I had gone back to camp after running errands with a half a tank of gas. And then we had an emergency evacuation and had to outrun a fire, and I had a half a tank of gas. Not smart. And in a minute you'll see exactly why that put me and possibly the other people I was traveling with in a bad position. 4, know your emergency evacuation routes ahead of time and have at least 2 exits whenever possible. And so not only on the camp road that you might be camping on, like right now, we're on a National Forest Service road. And unfortunately, on this particular road, there's only one exit out to the main road. But on that main road, there are 2 exits once we hit it. But if you can, on your camp road and on the main road, have 2 ways that you can get out. We were very fortunate that we were able to, that we had another escape route because the one going toward town was closed off because of the fire, and I'll show you that in a minute. 5, don't box yourself in. By that, I mean try to park where your nose is facing the road, where you can easily start your rig and get out. Don't let anybody park in front of you, or if you do, that you know you can easily get around, and also without running over their stuff. We all had solar panels and everything sitting out, and if it had come to the point where we had to leave that behind, those of us that were further in camp needed to be able to get past all of that without having to run over it, or at least being willing to sacrifice it. So don't let yourself get boxed in. Number 6, and I'm doing sign language, always have an idea where you can go next. Lots of times I have gone to a place and thought I would land there for just a couple of weeks, and then while I was there, I would figure out my next spot. I have learned to not do that. At least have some idea of where you might be able to go for your next spot, and then you can narrow it down from there. For example, remember, fire travels uphill, and so we had to actually go uphill, which is why we were kind of running from the fire for a while, because downhill where the fire started, we couldn't go that direction. And so there was camping between us and where we went, but that camping was uphill, so there was no telling if the fire would keep coming, and there's no signal out there. In an emergency situation, you don't want to find yourself where you don't have phone signal or internet signal to stay in touch with your loved ones. So we had to travel 40 miles north and then 40 miles south, because that was the only evacuation route available to us. So just always be aware of all of that, and be prepared to plan your route, and then drive your plan. In scuba diving, we used to say that, plan your dive and then dive your plan. Keep in mind that we had to flee on Sunday, and just before that, on Friday, Jana, Sammy, Bandit, and I were on the Mount Eldon Trail, and that is right where one of the first places that was shut down because of the fire. And then on Saturday, we visited the Arizona Snow Bowl, which was one of the first places evacuated. And so we were right in where the fire started. And had the wind been blowing a different direction, you guys, it would have been a different story. And I just don't even want to think about that. Life can change on a dime. Stay vigilant, be prepared. We look at our maps and our emergency notifications on our phones off and on all day long. And even in the night, if I wake up and the others that I'm camped with, if they wake up, we're constantly checking that. This morning when we woke up here in this camp where we escaped to, smoke was billowing into our camp, and it was thick. It turns out, though, it was smoke from the pipeline and haywire fire, even though now I think we're about probably a good 30, 40 miles from the epicenter of that. I'm guessing. I'm maybe a little off on that mileage. But the National Forest Service issued a statement that with calmer winds and cooler temperatures, smoke settled into lower areas overnight. And so I'm going to give you, hi ravens. Oh, it's a raven and a hawk. Oh, I wish I could show you guys, but let me see if I can do this. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can show you these hawks up there. Nope, I'm not going to be able to. It won't let me turn it around while I'm filming. I'm so sorry, but there's 2 hawks flying over and a raven. They were chasing the raven away, which I suspect was probably getting into their nest. They're so beautiful. Anyway, squirrel. You guys know what it's like with me. but it looked like very dense fog, but it smelled like a huge campfire. It smelled awful. And on Sunday and Monday, you guys, the firefighters, the first responders, and rescue teams, they were fighting high winds and gusts up to 50 miles per hour. This has been brutal. We're supposed to have high winds again coming this Sunday, but hopefully the forecast will change or they can get the fires contained. That only gives them a week, but I'm hoping and praying for everyone concerned that they can, because my heart goes out to everyone affected by this. Tim, Stanley, and Carrie went into town this morning for errands, and they came back and they said the smoke in town is so thick. Carrie thought she was going to have to wet a bandana and put it on. I will put some links in the video description down below and in the pinned comment, so you might find them helpful, but you can at least get more info and do your own tracking of these fires from the links that I'm going to give you. And also, you guys, I encourage you to remember that even though an arrest has been made in this circumstance, as best I can tell, this is still America, and suspects are still innocent until proven guilty. Again, if you look at the links below that I'm providing, you'll see that the official cause is listed as unknown and under investigation. So please just keep that in mind and be kind. On that note, I'll also say that in a recent campsite, I picked up 8 big bags of human poo. I'm not kidding you. Someone covered them up with pine needles. It's like they put their bags of poo, in kitty litter bags or whatever, thick white bags on the forest floor, and then just piled pine needles up on top of them. I don't know if they thought they were a cat covering up their poo or what. It's just ridiculous. And we took them to the Cinder Lake landfill, which has been closed because of the fires until today. But the abuse of our public lands has got to stop. So there's your info about the fires and the emergency evacuation tips that I wanted to share with you. And if you've enjoyed something from this video, before I go on and talk about options from here, please like and hit that like button and comment. Be sure you're subscribed to my channel and hit that bell for notifications. And if you think that this information is helpful, please share it. And there's always the thanks tip button below, and I'd really appreciate it. So my friends and I have been discussing where we're going to go next. And thanks to all of the loving support that I've recently received from all of you guys, and thank you again. I have options. Thank you for the offers, first of all, to stay on private land, but I'm not comfortable with that, and plus I don't want to leave my friends. So here, we are in the last stronghold for this area that stands a chance of staying cool enough without AC for the summer. That we're in the Flagstaff and the surrounding peaks are part of the highest part of Arizona, and once you get out of this area for the summer, it gets really, really hot. Please keep in mind that since my brain surgery, my thermoregulator doesn't work. I have to, and that's why you're getting part shade and part sun from me, because I had to come sit in the shade to do this video. But I'm kind of like a dang lizard. I have to control my own temperatures. I can't get too hot and I can't get too cold. So if we end up having to leave this area, the last stronghold around Flagstaff, for cooler temperatures, with gas prices the way they are, the next closest place that we are considering will cost me in Phoenix, because she gets about 8 miles to the gallon in the hills, in the mountains, will cost me about $1,200 for me to drive to the next closest place, and that's probably in Colorado. That will be cool enough for the summer. And also keep in mind, New Mexico, their 3 forests are still closed. I might be able to get links for you and put that in the video description and pin comment below also, but I know it's the Lincoln, the Carson, and I can't remember the third one right now, but those are also closed. Hopefully we'll be able to stay in this area, but there's just no telling, because like I said, life can change on a dime. So my wonderful viewers, you, and my wonderful Coco Fan patrons have given me great peace of mind on being able to pull such a trip off if necessary. up until your kind-hearted generosity recently, I wasn't sure what I was going to end up having to do. I can't afford an RV park in this area. They start around $1,200 a month plus electricity. I just don't make that kind of money. I know a lot of people don't. And so it has been very precarious, but you've given me options, and I am hanging on to that money for emergency situations, and thank you for that peace of mind. It's not an easy life out here, you guys, but it is a good one. I mean, look at this beautiful day, and I just saw 2 hawks and a raven, and it is beautiful, and I hope that you are having a wonderful day, and I hope that you found this video helpful, and thank you again for being here on my channel and on this journey with me and Bandit. Stay safe, everyone. Keep on keeping on. I'll see you down the road. We're being evacuated due to the fires right through there. I don't know if y'all can see them or not. We're headed downhill.